All right, welcome to our weekly meeting for the Software Supply Chain Security Working Group. And yeah, we've got one topic. Thanks, Brian. So what are our objectives for 16.3? That's a great question. We just got done with 16.2, so we just released the keyless signing, which is like a really huge milestone. I think that's going to unlock a bunch of other improvements in the future. I know we've got Aaron working on the UI for the container registry to show that it's signed in the container registry, because right now that experience is really, really poor, where the signature is not correlated at all with the image itself. And that's something that we definitely need to improve for anybody to use it without having to go manually verify the images themselves. So that continues to be a priority. I think it would be good for Aaron to continue working on that. The next highest priority, though, on the list is this idea of automatic signing or having signing integrated into the GitLab runner specifically for build artifacts. So eventually we want to do it for everything, but we want to start with build artifacts first, since that's the easiest. We don't have to contribute into another open source tool to make that happen. So that definitely is an objective, but I think that's going to take some time, since there are still some architectural things to work out with the runner team on all of that. So that still is a high priority, but I don't know that it's really ready to go into development. I would say the objective for 16.3 would probably be to get it through, we'll call it refinement, or planning breakdown. I don't know what you want to call it, but like get that ready for development essentially would be my objective for that for 16.3.
Yeah, okay. So I think that's a good objective, but I do see some challenges there. I think we're going to have to work closely with the runner team to make sure that our refinement is going to work. Because if we create a whole implementation plan, all that work is going to be for nothing if it's not like acceptable for the runner team in terms of architecture and performance and whatever other concerns they might have. And so I think that we really need somebody from that group to help us with refining the implementation plan. And the issue is that it doesn't really seem that there's any engineers with availability to help us out on that.
Yeah, that makes sense. So I'm meeting with Jackie later this week. I think it's tomorrow, to talk to her about that. And then depending on where that conversation goes, I may also set up a meeting with Darren to talk to him as well. I agree. I think that would be ideal to have somebody from that team. It's just going to take a little bit of time to make that happen.
Okay. So in the meantime, there's a couple of follow-up issues from the keyless signing that Ali had that I'm planning on finishing. Aaron's also going to keep working on the container image signing. Yeah, I definitely don't want to pull him off of that, because he spent a lot of time like getting acclimated with the registry code base and stuff. And there's also another thing that came up, and that's figuring out keyless signing for self-managed. Like, I think probably that the solution that we already delivered in 16.2 for the keyless signing would probably already work with the self-hosted Sigstore stack. But I haven't been able to figure out how to actually set up a self-hosted stack to test that and find out. So I'm kind of wondering where that would fit into the priority list.
So again, I probably need to refine the priority list a little bit, make it more clear. Let me go see what's there. But essentially, I view the priorities as priority 1 is still that automatic signing of build artifacts. Even though it's priority 1, we may not be able to make a ton of progress on it this milestone, but that would take priority over anything else. So as much as we can move that forward, let's prioritize that. And then the second one is what Aaron's working on, UI verification, container images. And then I think we decided to slot in, we finished what's currently listed on our priorities page as priority 3, but we also have some follow-up issues. And I think we would just slot those in there to keyless signing. And I think the self-managed would fall in with that as well. If I were to prioritize within that, I would probably put self-managed first and then the other follow-up issues, but I don't know, it's a close tie. So call it like 3A and 3B. Does that help?
Yeah, it does. So I'm gonna share my screen real quick. I just want to kind of look and try and schedule some of the issues that we have. So this is what we currently have on a milestone for 16.3. There's some of the stuff that Aaron's working on for the registry.
Yep.
So like implementing the OCI 1.1 referrals spec, which will help us with the storing the signatures. Then I have this follow-up work from keyless signing, and then I have research for self-hosted. So that's what's there right now. For the stuff that's on the backlog. Oh, I'm gonna. I haven't seen this one. Yeah, so this. I'm taking this one off of the working group because we actually don't need this for the SIG store stuff, and I'm concerned about the security with implementing this. So I'm leaving it up to the pipeline security team if they want to do this or not. Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense. I agree. There definitely could be some risks there.
Right. And so I guess this is the same. So I'm going to take. So this is dependent on the other issues. So I'm going to take this out of the working group board.
Do we have an
backlog, I think?
So right now, at the technical level, we're using the user who triggered the pipeline. We're using that user's OIDC identity to generate the JWT token, correct?
Yes, that's right. So the background on this issue, this is kind of like a nice to have. The idea is that you could SigStore could. So the idea here is that you could use like an API to request an OIDC token instead of using ID token. And I don't think that's very secure because then every single job has access to the OIDC token. And so my suggestion is just use ID tokens instead, basically. And
Yeah, I agree.
yeah, that basically solves the security concerns where like you don't have every single job being able to access the token, and still like if Sigstore can use this environment variable automatically, you don't have to configure cosign to use this automatically, it automatically detects it. So I think this essentially solves the use case that we were looking for.
Yeah, that sounds good. I guess one thing I question though is whether we want in the long term, whether we want to continue using the user's OIDC identity and instead whether we want the GitLab runner who is doing the build to have its own OIDC identity. And we would basically be certifying that, we inputted this GitLab ci.yaml file. Here's the repository that we pointed to and such. And like this build artifact was the thing that came out the other end. And we don't know, we may not have full insight into like exactly what build scripts were called, but we can certify and say this build artifact was produced and built on a GitLab runner. Whereas if we use the user's OIDC identity, it seems like they could potentially use that same identity, whether it's through this API or in some other way to like build something on their local machine and sign it.
So I think that the identity of the user shouldn't even matter. There are claims like the signature data has a bunch of claims in it that you can check. And so what you're checking shouldn't even be who signed the artifact. It should be part of the claims, like what project did it come from? What branch was it built from? Stuff like that. So I don't think it really matters which identity was used. It's the claims in the signature data, which is important.
Okay, that makes sense. Okay, anyway, so sorry to derail on that. Back to the board. What you have in there looks good to me. Do we need more work for 16.3 or is that enough to keep us busy?
Yeah, so I was just thinking that there's not much stuff here in the backlog. I'm gonna refresh because that one should be gone now. Yeah. But so I think as we there's almost nothing here. And so I'm kind of wondering what we should fill this up with. I think ideally, as we refine the native signing of job artifacts, we'll produce issues that will go in here. It's just we're kind of waiting to find someone to help us out with that.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, it seems like that might take a while. And so the other thing we could do is move on to either priority 4 or priority 5 and start refining those and create issues for those. So that might be another option. Or if there's a way you could help Aaron with number 2 and speed that up, I guess that could be a thing too.
Okay, that sounds good. I think what we have on here is kind of enough, considering we only have 2 people. So I'll focus on this stuff, and then if I manage to finish all of it, then I can search for some other stuff to pull in, like as a stretch goal.
Okay, yeah, that sounds great. That sounds great. I have one other topic as well to discuss. Do you have any more on our 16.3 objectives?
I think that's pretty much it. But I'm glad we got to discuss that.
Great. Okay, so I just added a point number 3 here. I personally need to figure out where we're at regarding commit signing. I know we had a community contributor who added a whole bunch of work. I know you added a bunch of work as far as like SSH signing of commits. Do you remember that? Maybe I'm
No,
describing it incorrectly.
I'm not sure what you're referring to.
Let me check.
I might not have seen it.
Signed commits with your SSH key. You did the work on this as a community contribution, I think.
Yeah. I have seen, I did see that Igor Drozdov from Source Code was working on having Giddily automatically sign commits with SSH
Yes.
when you make commits in the web IDE. I think he finished that. I'm not sure, but it looks pretty neat.
Okay, let me share my screen. Yeah, so there was this issue that you did, signing commits with your SSH key.
Yes, that.
And then we also have this issue, which another community contributor helped with, talking about like, web IDE commits or automated web commits should be PGP signed. And yeah, this is what you're talking about. This was blocked on getting it into Giddily. I'm not 100% sure what the status is on this. So that's something I need to go figure out, is just to see where we're at. And then we also have this issue that's on our backlog, which is support keyless commit signing with GetSign. I think they're all like closely related. There are some advantages still that you pointed out here to using GetSign. Anyway, and also Billy pointed out a few advantages here as well. So I'm not sure though if this work is blocked and dependent on the Giddily work, or if this is separate from that Giddily work, or I guess I'm struggling to figure out just how much work is required here. Is this potentially something that could be a quick win that we could just do really easily, or are we blocked on Giddily, or like, I don't fully understand everything that needs to be done here.
So, as far as the keyless signing, I don't feel like it's a quick win because verifying the SIG source signatures is pretty complex, and there's no Ruby libraries for it yet. So we would have to pretty much build that from scratch, and I think that would take a while. Also, we were planning on doing the container image signature verification first, because the commit signature code is very old and it's not structured in a way that's very maintainable. So it's very hard to add new signature methods to it. So the idea was that we would start with the registry, showing the registry signatures first, and hopefully create something that's more maintainable. And then we could take what we learned from that and apply it to the commit signatures, and possibly refactor that so that it's easier to maintain.
Got it. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Do we need to be working with SigStore or asking them if they would be interested in building and maintaining a Ruby library? I'm wondering if that's something that we should try to get on their roadmap.
So I've been involved in the SigStore community Slack, and I've asked in there about Ruby library already. And there are people in the community who are interested, but the Ruby version of Sigstore got stalled out, like for a variety of reasons, is what I've heard. I didn't press for details, but so there's a few people who are interested. It's just I don't think anybody has the capacity to work on it. But Sigstore, the company, I think, does not maintain any Ruby code. It's like the community working with that. So I'm not sure how helpful they could be because I don't think they have any Ruby engineers.
Okay, that's good to know.
And by
Okay,
so by Sigstore, I mean ChainGuard. Like ChainGuard is the company,
chain
but
guard.
Sigstore is what they call their project.
Yes. Okay, that makes a lot of sense. I have talked with some others in the past who were interested in funding work that might help us further our objectives, especially if it was in conjunction with ChainGuard and Sigstore. So um, since we're posting this publicly on YouTube, I won't mention like who they are, but I have been in touch with some others in the past who are interested in helping fund that. Let me reach out to them and see. This seems like something that might be a good project candidate to be funded by that group if we can build a business case for it. So let me, I'll work on that in parallel.
Yeah, okay, that sounds great. I do think that if we decide to like write our own Sigstore Ruby library, we would need some help like from ChainGuard or from somebody in the Sigstore community with figuring out the technical details because like the nitty-gritty of signature verification is difficult.
Oh, for sure. Okay, thanks. That makes a lot of sense. Okay, that's all I have for now. Did you have
Okay,
anything else to discuss then?
yeah, I do. So I do want to I do want to give you the background on the web commit signing too. So what happened there was we had a community contributor who implemented it for GPG. And then we had to go and remove it because the GPG code that the contributor added wasn't FIPS compliant. And
Oh
we wanted
no.
to have a FIPS certified runner. And so we went back and forth a bit on how to create a FIPS certified version. And we were like, let's do SSH signatures because those are like in the standard library and it FIPS compliant, I believe. So Igor went and implemented that. And I think there's like one follow-up issue open to implement the same thing, but using GPG. But I think like I think the automated sign commits are already in production. They're already in the product. So I think it's done. It's just that it's only SSH signatures.
Okay. Is there any documentation for that, or I haven't seen any doc pages, or like, are there any setup steps, or does that happen just automatically? If you make a web commit, it's signed.
So I'm not sure. I would suggest asking Igor or the PM for source code. I don't remember who it is because Torsten got promoted.
Right, right.
So he's not the PM anymore. But yeah, I would ask them. I only know about this because I reviewed one of the merge requests for Igor, but I'm not
Okay.
sure about the status for the whole thing.
Yeah, that sounds good because I feel like I've done web commits and it has not showed up as signed, but maybe we just haven't implemented the verification badge and it actually is signed. So I'm not really sure.
I think it might be behind a feature flag.
Okay. I will ask. Thanks for that guidance. That makes a lot more sense now.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Okay, great. Well, thanks for talking through that. If you need more for 16.3, like I said, just pick up. We can always start refining like priority 4, but I know Aaron has a bunch of issues for priority 2, and so maybe you can pick up 1 or 2 of those if you have extra
Yeah,
time.
sounds good. I might be able to help him with that. I do think I didn't completely finish the refinement for that. So there's still a couple of issues that we need to create regarding
Okay.
signature verification. Yeah, and we're gonna run into the challenge with the six door library when we get around to that. So
Yeah, that makes sense. Okay, cool. Thanks for syncing up today. Appreciate it.
all right,
See you
talk to you
later.
later.